Hello friends, in this video I'm going to talk about Python Decorator. Well, before I speak about the inside story of Decorator, I want to take you a little bit back step, and that is in C language we know there is a concept called pointers. So if you ask anyone what is pointer, people will say that pointer is a variable that can store the address of what? Address of some variables. And can't it be an array? Yeah, of course it can be an array. Can't it be a structure? Well, it is also possible to store an address of a structure. But if I ask now, can a pointer store an address of a function? Yeah, you rightly heard. A pointer is not storing an address of a memory location, rather it's storing the address of a function. And there where people will be struck by. Yes, a pointer can even store an address of a function. And this entire concept is what we are going to make use of in regard to Decorator in Python. Let me tell you what we want to achieve in this particular program. I want to write a program where I will be performing a sum of two numbers. A very straightforward thing. But I want to ensure that these two numbers, they both need to be an even number. Hey man, what a big deal about this. I can just do a little bit of if condition. Well, that is possible, but I want to implement the concept of decorators over here. And here is the program that actually demonstrates this entire concept. So let me tell you how exactly this is working. So over here I have a function called add number, and this function is going to take two arguments over here. So when I have written over here, okay, let me change this 7 to 8 for the initially to keep both the numbers even numbers. So if you see over here, I have a function called add number that takes two arguments 8 and 14. So how the flow will take place? The control will directly come right over here and it will assign the variable, the A will be having the value 8 and B will be having the value 14, right? That would be the usual flow. But wait, over here we have something very special with the @ annotation, and that's what called decorator. So when you're writing a decorator, what actually happens that this particular function will not execute immediately. What I mean is, when you have called this function, definitely it will jump right over here, but before execute this particular function, it will come to this particular decorator, and this decorator will take you right over here. So that means you are adding some extra functionalities before the actual function gets executed. Can I say like this? The answer is yes. You are really adding some extra features before the actual functionality of the function takes place, and that feature will be done with the help of decorator. So the control will directly jump right over here, and if you notice over here you have got one parameter called func. Now what the hell is this going to be? Well, surprisingly this function is going to hold this entire function. What I'm saying? Yeah, you correctly heard. This is an argument, undoubtedly is an argument of this function, and this argument is going to hold this entire function. Just like the way a pointer is holding an address of a function. Imagine, that was the era when we used to refer a function by a pointer, and today we are using the same concept where we are passing a function as an argument to another function. I repeat the line, you are passing an argument, which is a function, to another function, and that's what called higher order function. Yes, when you're talking about decorator, you can associate this particular term called higher order function. So check _ decorator is not only a decorator, but it is also a higher order function because it is taking an argument which is actually a function. Okay, and later on you will notice that this function check order is even returning also a function, which we will come right over here. You will see that it's returning a function as well. So when we're talking about higher order function, there are two important features that comes up with. First feature is that the higher function takes an argument which is also a function, and the higher function returns a function, and the return type is actually a function. Okay, so when the control came over here, so this entire function is now present inside this parameter called func, and now we are creating another function within this decorator, and this function, whatever name you give, that's up to your choice. But look over here, it has got two arguments. Why two? Because this function has got these two arguments a comma b. So that means even though you're passing this particular function as an argument, so inside this whatever function's argument it has got, that should be the argument you're supposed to write within the wrapper function. So the wrapper function is taking two argument a comma b because your add num function was taking two arguments. So that means this two argument is actually coming right from here. And now we are doing the checking that if a, which is the number which I have given is 8, is a even number, and b even number, if both the conditions is true, then you are going to call this particular argument. Basically you are going to say that I'm going to execute the function now, and then the control will come right over here and will do the summation, and that result will get stored inside this result variable. Yes, that's how it's going to work. But what if I have given some other numbers, like suppose if I have given 7 over here instead of 8, in that case this particular condition fails. As a result, it will not come into this particular block, rather it will come to the else block and is going to return this particular statement, and this return statement will eventually be returned and will get stored inside this particular variable, because at the end of the day you are calling this function from here, so the return value should come over here. So what I mean is, if it is, or if both the numbers are even numbers, it's the sum of these two even numbers, the result will come right over here and then exactly over here. Or else if any of the number is not even number, then this particular statement, this particular string would come over here, and then this particular statement will take place. So at the end of the day, any of the results should come over here and eventually will be getting printed over here. And which particular statement that will come, that depend upon the parameter which you have taken. And finally, when you are coming out to this wrapper function, you're going to return this wrapper, that means you're returning this particular function, because at the end of the day you are returning this result which is the output of this particular function. So for that reason it is said that an higher function not only takes an argument which is in form of function, but at the same time will also return a function. And as you can see right over here, it is returning a function, and that return value will be forwarded to this particular statement, and eventually it will come right over here. So at the end of the day, what do we understand by the decorator function? Well, decorator function is such a concept where we are adding some extra functionality on the top of the actual function what it is supposed to do. Like my actual task was to perform some or two numbers, but prior to that I want to perform a verification whether these two numbers are even numbers or not. So this verification is actually taken care by the decorator, and if the verification is found to be true, then only the actual function will be getting executed, otherwise not. Okay, and honestly speaking, this entire concept decorator will play a very crucial role when it comes to Django authentication. For example, suppose you have successfully logged into your account. Okay, you are right now, suppose you are a customer, you logged into your account, that is customer dashboard. Now staying in customer dashboard, will it be valid to go for a new registration of a customer? Of course not, right? The registration process has to be done when you are not logged in. So that means being logged in, you cannot do a new registration. You can do the registration only if you are logged out. So being as logged in, if you try to access the login, or I mean to say registration route, it should not allow you to do that. Rather it should redirect you back to the dashboard only. Or if you are already logged out, then it's fine. If you click on the registration tab, you can do the registration. So this counter verification, that means which route did you access? You access the route called register. But before you do the registration, it must check where exactly you are present right now. Are you already logged in or you are not logged in? So for that reason, this entire functionality will be achieved by the concept of decorator, where you have got some extra functionality to be played before the actual task has been executed. Okay, so let me run the program now, and as it comes, let's run over here and let's come over here. I've given like odd number over here. That's the reason you are seeing the please enter even numbers only. That's the result which you are getting. But what if I go for an even number? Suppose I'm giving an even number called 16, like I want to separate these two parameters. And now let's run the code, and in this time it should work, and as you can see over here, the result is 30. So you saw that before you actually did the calculation, you did a small verification. Based on that, the entire operation worked on, and this whole concept is done by the term decorator, and this decorator will be symbolized by this annotation @ symbol. So that's how the decorator is actually been used. Okay, so that's all from this video presentation. See you soon. Bye bye.